Deathwatch.
Hello, and welcome to Call of Cthulhu, and Some Fell on Stony Ground. And I'm Brandon, I'll be the keeper, and we'll introduce our players, starting with Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm playing Oscar Herman, a vet from World War I who has recently been recruited by the FBI to go looking into a strange group of people or organization that they fear might be up to nefarious deeds. Huh?
My name is Travis, and I'm playing Rob Wolf. Rumble Rob was my ring name. Missouri heavyweight champion. I even had a path to squaring off with Jack Dempsey and maybe snatching the national boxing heavyweight championship belt. But all that changed because, well, when I'm feeling a little more honest, I might lay it out in these pages. Let's just say I took a hit that had my number, and my chin ain't been the same since. Now, I'm almost 40, and I break my back for who I can, when I can. I don't really see that changing anytime soon. But it's like they say, it ain't over until the bell rings.
And I'm John, playing Tony Ray Spates. I was a Boston police officer. It was up until the strike of 1919, where me and my fellow officers had strike for our union for better wages and benefits, but alas, the chief commissioner, or the commissioner and the governor didn't want us back. So they hired a bunch of new officers, and now I sell myself as a bounty hunter that also dabbles in the spiritual.
Okay, so Tony, we'll start with you. 3 weeks ago, you wait patiently in a comfortably padded chair in a massive library. Shelves line the walls all the way up to the vaulted ceiling with hundreds of books of every size and sort. Rolling ladders allow access to all the shelves. There's a blaze in a fireplace large enough to stand in that bathes you in a warmth that's a welcome reprieve from the New England February weather. On a small table rests a drink left by the aged butler that had escorted you through this mansion. And aside from the crackle and pop of the fire, the room is completely quiet. It's the quiet, a silence that's not possible for people who live in Boston with your means. But this house is enormous, and all of the sounds of outside are blocked out. One of the doors opens, and a man appears. He's a small man, slight of build, but with a healthy countenance. His sharp features are accentuated by thick glasses that he wears, and his suit looks like it costs more than you make in a year. But for all of that, it fits as if it was made for somebody else. He doesn't smile as he extends his hand to shake yours, and when you look into his eyes, you're taken aback. You can't quite put your finger on it, but there's definitely something strange about his eyes, as if more than one person is looking out of them. Mr. Spates, thank you for coming. I am Professor Frederick Thomas. Time is short, though of course that is relative, isn't it? I'd explain it to you if I had more time. He gestures to the chair that you were sitting in, and he seats himself in another. The butler, whom you did not even notice entering the room, appears from behind him and deposits a glass of wine on the small table next to him, along with an envelope. I'll get right down to it, Mr. Spates. I've asked you here to hire your services. I understand you are in the business of tracking down people who don't wish to be found. Recently, a man was hired onto my staff in the kitchens. He was more than he seemed, and unfortunately, he made off with something of incalculable value to me. I need it back. I don't have any care whatsoever about the man himself, you understand. He can ascend to heaven on a cloud, or fall to the center of the earth for all of me. But what he stole, I must have returned to me. I don't know his real name unless he was foolish enough to use it when he applied. He went by the name Felix Tarame. He immigrated from somewhere in Eastern Europe by my guess. I will pay beyond handsomely if you can recover my stolen property to me. What do you say?
Well, I appreciate the offer, Professor. I know that it would make things a lot easier if he had used his real name, but as you pointed out, that's probably not what happened. Do you mind describing this object? I'll gladly find it for you.
Yes, of course, I will give you a description of what he stole, but only after you've agreed to work for me.
Gladly track down your missing item.
Thank you. So he reaches to that envelope and he hands it to you, and it's got a goodly bit of cash in it, and he says, this is a retainer fee. And then he explains to you that what was stolen from him was a book from this very library. And it's a smallish book, about the size you would of those pocket Bibles that people carry. And it's got a black and red cover.
What's the title of this book?
It has no title, and it has about 300 pages, but it's completely blank.
It's a black and red cover. Any designs? Anything that other than the colors that make it stand out?
No, there's no writing on it or in it, but you will most certainly know it when you see it.
Do your staff or anybody working for you, do they live on the premises here, or do they live off-site?
Oh, yes. Yeah, so this is an enormous mansion. This guy's just insanely wealthy. And so, yeah, you know he's going to have a large live-in staff there. But that was 3 weeks ago. And so you agreed to track down this Felix Tarame for him and retrieve the book that he stole. It's Taarame.
Was there anybody that you saw that was friendly with him? Anybody that trained him? Do you mind if I have access to the bunk rooms and the other staff?
Yes, whatever you need, anything you need for your investigation. You can interview all of my staff, and Mr. Gordon here will facilitate that for you. And he's talking to the butler. So, time jump. You began your investigation there, and you did all the investigating things, and you started following the trail of this man that you have been tracking based mostly on his description, because as you've moved almost straight west from Boston through southern New York State, nobody's recognized him by that name, but you found enough clues here and there to continue the investigation and follow the trail, and that led you to small eastern Pennsylvania town of Stowell, and that's where you are now. And right now you find yourself sitting at the table in the kitchen of a woman named Petunia Brizendine, who runs a boarding house here. And you're at this kitchen table with two other boarders that you've become friendly with in the 2 weeks you've been here. One is a big German-looking fellow, as muscular as you, but half a foot taller, and with a face that looks like he uses it to drive railroad spikes. His name is Rob, but people call him Rumble. He's an ex-boxer, according to him, and that's not hard to believe. The other is a handsome man, younger than you and Rumble by a decade, by the calendar, but not by a life lived, judging from his eyes. He's a soldier, he'd said, who fought in France. He says he's a writer, a traveling writer, doing research on small-town America or something like that. You don't believe him, but you also don't detect any malice in the lie, and instead just a desire to keep a secret of his own. And you don't begrudge him that. It's not your business. And besides, you like him fine. You're all seated at the table in Petunia's kitchen because it's breakfast time. Only Petunia isn't there, and there is no breakfast. So you've followed the trail of this Felix Terman. It brought you to this small town, and some instinct tells you that he's here. and you did some searching around like you normally do to see if he'd moved on, but you haven't found signs, and you haven't found him yet. So you spend your days going about the town, talking to people, trying to determine where he might be hiding. It does seem a little odd to you that Petunia isn't here and hasn't provided breakfast, but overall, a missed meal isn't going to kill you. Today, you had planned to visit the police station, and then after that, the courthouse. Now we'll move over to Rob, Rumble Wolf. So, Rob, you will go back in time. You lost, and there's a man, an old man, he's yelling at you. He says, you lost because you're a loser and a coward. Don't think I don't know it. You was born a loser. God reached down from heaven the day you was born and flipped the switch in you. Turned the dial all the way to 0, and he ain't never changed it since then. He left it so only you could change it, and I taught you how, and you had it made, and you turned it back, and don't think I don't know it. I know what it looks like when a man loses his nerve, when he suddenly woke up and realized that it hurts to get punched in the head. I know what it looks like when a man gets knocked out, and I know what it looks like when a man takes a fall on purpose. Get out of here. I don't ever want to see you no more. Shame on you and shame on me for pouring my heart and soul into you. That's Joe Thompson screaming at you, and you can do nothing but listen. None of the words that you might say in defense of yourself will come to your lips, even if you could speak. The large form looming behind your trainer with a raised pistol would keep your tongue still. Joe can't see the man behind you because you're having a flashback, and he doesn't realize the danger he's in, and you can't tell him. The fight plays again in your mind, blow by blow. You see all the openings the other fighter leaves, but you don't take them, because out of the corner of your eye you always see that inhumanly large form looming over Joe with a pistol and an eyebrow raised. The face is impassive and featureless except for that raised eyebrow, as if he's saying, do you want me to kill him? It makes no difference to me. You've had this dream hundreds of times now. You're almost to the end. You feel the other fighter's fist connect with your chin. You know it's just a glancing blow, but you have to fall anyway. You don't want to, of course, but you have no choice. You look over at Joe in your corner. For the first time in your entire career, he's silent as he watches, his face betraying his confusion. Then it happens. Something breaks. Something inside you with a snap that almost seems audible as your opponent's fist makes contact with your chin, and somehow you don't need to pretend as the lights go out. So you wake up, leap to your feet, before realizing the fight is over and you aren't in the ring anymore. You're in the room you rent from a kind old lady named Petunia Brizendine, who raised 12 children and turned her sprawling home into a boarding house after her husband died and her children all moved away. You move the curtain aside and look out in the early morning light. A couple 100 yards away, there's just enough light from the rising sun to see the recreation ground, which is a large playground with swings and merry-go-rounds that the kids use. And right past that is a rock face that rises a couple 100 feet in the air. You're drenched with sweat as though you really had been in a fight, but you know that it's too late to go back to bed now. You can hear rustling from the room next to yours and hope that you hadn't woke them in your thrashing about. Stowell, Pennsylvania, a nice small town that's quiet despite its prosperity. You've been here for 2 weeks and could be there for another hour or another year for all you care. You'd come across riding the rails in a northeasterly direction from St. Louis, a direction chosen because that had been the direction you happened to be facing. You were able to quickly find work at Al's Best Automobiles, fixing cars, and then a job in the evenings washing dishes at Mother Baker's Diner. Out the window, you can see the backyard of the house next door. A pretty blonde girl of 8 years steps out wearing a brown dress and no shoes. She has a basket in her hands, and she jumps from the doorstep, skipping the 2 stone stairs that lead down to the soft dirt of the yard. You watch her wince and turn, but too late to catch the screen door from slamming closed behind her. She waits for the shout she knows is coming from inside the house, her mother telling her for what must be the 1,000th time not to let the door slam. She shouts back an apology and then wheels around and skips across the yard to collect the eggs from the chicken coop nestled against the back fence. Rosemary Ellis is her name. She had taken a liking to you almost immediately, peppering you with questions whenever she spied you in the back chopping wood for Petunia. She always hides extra eggs for you in a spot where the fence doesn't quite meet the ground. You told her she doesn't need to, but she said a man as big as you can probably eat a lot of eggs. And she's right about that. So as you watch her carefully place the eggs in the hole next to the fence, you suddenly realize that sounds you have grown accustomed to are absent. By now, you ought to be able to hear the sounds of Petunia in the kitchen making breakfast for the boarders, but as you strain your ears, all you can hear is the chickens and birds outside and rustling from the boarder in the room next door, which you know to be Oscar Herman. You know she goes to church 3 times a week, but today is Saturday, so that doesn't explain why she's not there. And then Oscar. Oscar, you had joined the FBI right after being discharged honorably from the Army after the armistice was signed in 1919. And then immediately they put you on special assignment to infiltrate, join a secret society, and determine if it's dangerous to the public or the country or the country's reputation. And in the course of that, you made contact with a man named Walter Jones, who is presumably a member of this secret society, which goes by the name Wiper's Pals. And Walter Jones had sent you to a town called Stowell in northeast Pennsylvania. And he had said, here's your chance, kid, if you want to show what you're made of. We've heard the whispers that something is happening in a sleepy little town in Pennsylvania. What rumors, you want to ask? But you don't want to ask that, kid, believe me. Questions at your early stage just never come with the answers you hope. They'll just get you all balled up, and we don't want that, not with a kid with your potential. Walter pauses and takes an intense drag of his cigarette. The tip flares brightly and momentarily illuminates his worn, stubbled face. Even in that brief moment, his eyes never stop their scan of the darkened bar. This is a man who knows how to survive because he's had no choice. Anyway, I could explain it to you until I'm blue in the face, and we could keep this bull session going until the joint closes, but at the end of it all, you wouldn't believe me, and I wouldn't blame you. This stuff is the kind of thing you got to see with your own eyes to believe, and even then, most people still don't believe it. But you're here because you know that there are things in the world that hide in the dark corners. Things that can't be explained, but more importantly, things that got no business being. If you didn't know that deep down in your gut, you wouldn't be here wasting time talking to me. Walter finishes his cigarette and stamps it out in the ashtray. People who want to do what we have to do have to bring some skills to the table. Now, you showed you're good in a fight over in France, so that part, at least, we're pretty sure on. But the rest is up to you to show us. Go to Stowell and sniff around, see what's what. If there's things that should not be, put an end to them. Walter stands and straightens his coat, scanning the darkened room again. One more thing, and this can be considered a friendly inside tip. Don't ever work alone when you don't have to. If you find people that can help you, even if they don't know exactly what they're helping with, use them. So Walter turned in without another word and pushed through the crowd to the exit, leaving you alone at the table. And now you find yourself sitting at the table in Petunia's kitchen, going over in your mind the response that you'd received from Walter Jones when you sent a report to him after you had been here 1 week. The report, which came through on a telegram, or the response, just said, they could be good assets, keep looking, something there, certain, show us what you're made of. And you'd received that 3 days ago, and the fact that your fellow boarders had remarked on the absence of the mistress, nor the fact that it definitely bothers Rumble, are lost on you. But the comings and goings of the mistress are of little concern to you. You're here with a mission of your own. Told only that there was something that should not be in Stowell, you were tasked with discovering what exactly that was. So far, the town seems like the epitome of small-town prosperous America. You've taken on the cover of a traveling writer, and today you'd planned to visit the Methodist Episcopal Church. A girl had been passing out flyers the day before, and something about her had seemed strange to you, though you couldn't put your finger on it. But at this point, it seems as good a place as any, and at least if nothing else, you'll be able to observe more of the townsfolk. And then, Rumble, you've been here longer than the other two boarders, and Petunia's schedule was almost inhuman in its regularity, so it's a little more concerning to you that it might be to the others. But on top of that, of all the uncountable boarding houses, rented shacks, tenements, camps, and shelters you've laid your head in, Petunia's cooking is in a class all by itself, and the idea of heading out for a shift at the car lot with an empty stomach doesn't set you in the best of moods. You consider trying your own hand at rustling something up, but the idea of messing about in her kitchen feels almost sacrilegious. It brings back the same turning in your stomach that always accompanied willful transgressions of the rules in the various boys' homes you'd spent your childhood years in. So there all three of you are on Saturday morning. And what do you want to do?
Yeah, any you fellas seen Mrs. Brizantine this morning? Hey, oh, by the way, if you need me to drive for you later, I can after my shift at the mechanic.
Sounds good. I've been planning on going around town, maybe getting some info or not info, but oh dang, inspiration from the local town folk themselves for my book. So I'm more than willing to if you don't have a problem heading towards Methodist churches.
No, not at all, sir. Raised Protestant myself.
Can't say it's all Latin to me.
What about you, Mr. Spates? What are you up to today?
Go around to the police station and see what I can learn over there. But in answer to your question, no, I haven't seen. I'm sorry, what was her last name? Brizantine? Yeah, I haven't
Brizantine.
Yeah, Brizantine.
Miss Brizantine around.
Prison time.
At all this morning.
Got love and hate on the knuckles.
Huh. That's odd. It's not a church day, I don't think.
Does anybody remember hearing that she had some extra errands to run?
I don't know. I preferred not to really get into her business as long as she stayed out of mine.
Yeah, I'm with Mr. Herman on that. I think I'm going to have to get something to eat before I go to work, so maybe I'll head out and rustle up some grub. But in actuality, I might go look around for the old lady.
Is there like a
outside
a restaurant or a diner or anything out here, or is it too small?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
it's it's a pretty good sized
I'll
town.
I'll offer that then. Is that
Small town.
Yeah, in the absence of, and I know that it's a poor substitute, but in the absence of Miss
That's the God's truth.
and her fabulous cooking, I was going to stop at the diner on the way down. If either of you gentlemen want to join.
Yeah, I'll join you. Let me make a quick stop. Let me talk to the neighbor real quick, and then I'll be ready to go.
All right. So was it, you said walking distance for the diner B?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So it's February?
Yeah.
I'll bundle up.
Okay.
Get myself, I don't know, I'm guessing I probably have some sort of like one of those big coats, kind of rustic look to it maybe.
Yeah, it is February, but it is a pretty warm day for February, so
All right. Still,
the weather's clear. So
you never know.
Yeah, I just wanted to dip out to
Yeah.
the back, see if that girl's out there playing. I just want to ask her if she's seen Mrs. Brizantine
Okay.
this morning.
Yeah, so she's still out there collecting the eggs, and she smiles as she sees you and says, "I left some eggs for you."
Aw, thanks, sweetheart. You can't be doing that for free, though. Here, let me give you something. And I'll pull a quarter out from my pocket. Now I won't be able to eat, but here you go, kid.
Yeah, so she giggles and she takes the quarter from you.
I think I can afford it.
Oh yeah, what's your daily spending?
It's 10 still.
That's not bad.
It's my cash and assets that are pretty low. But yeah, I'll give her a quarter of my 10 and take the eggs inside, throw them in the ice box. Ready to go, gentlemen.
I'll grab my jacket and my hat.
But you,
Oh, right. I didn't get what she said. I was just like, here you go.
yeah,
Sorry, I'm brain damaged, kid.
you're going to ask her,
A little bit slow.
yeah, if she'd seen Mrs. Brizantine,
Yeah.
but she hasn't.
You
She
know.
says no. And then, her mother steps out the back door and, says, "Rosemary, come inside now." And she waves at you. Her mother is,
Yeah, pardon me, Mrs. Ellis. You mind if I ask you a question? Now I sound like a cop. Sorry about that.
Yeah, but I don't look like a cop.
I look all beat up.
Yeah. Hey, you don't gotta worry about it. My face is all rough, but my nose never been broken.
I know it looks scary, but I just fight the bad guys.
Yeah.
no, Marion is her name, and she's a widow, and she's not scared of you. Been around long enough and interacted with enough people to understand that she's got an interest in you.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, well, I'll play up that angle. Sure is a fine morning seeing you.
Yeah.
I like that dress.
If I can. Yeah.
Here's a flower.
What's your sleight of hand?
I'll give her a quarter too. Right, not good. Base.
Making these flowers appear out of nowhere. I don't know where I picked it up. It's actually a...
I became a magician after I got knocked out.
That's actually a spell, and you're actually losing sanity, but you can't remember where you learned it from.
Produce flower. They have some dumb spells like that. The classic joked about one is attract fish.
Yeah, but that's like stuff you'd expect. And,
right.
And so that stuff, like, to us, a pretty stupid spell would be like make a crop fertile or land fertile type thing. And it's like, well...
if you're a small village that worships, something like Dagon or something, and you need a good haul.
Yeah.
Attract fish.
I always wanted to try to implement, what was it, like in that one Necronomicon book that made the rounds back in the day, where it was like all the sigils were like either very expensive or like used flour.
Right.
And it's like, I kind of want something like that where you can make your pentagram out of flour.
Yeah.
Nice and cheap. Shadowrun. Spending 8,000 new yen on a damn circle.
My Force 1 magical lodge or whatever.
Yeah, hang on a second. I'll get you.
Hey, yeah, Mrs. Ellis, if you bring Rosemary down here to the diner later, I buy you guys a meal on me. Be happy to treat you.
Let me see if I can share this.
My English is 48%.
Oh, man.
Trying to figure out more slang and stuff, but it's too hard for me to manage. I'll work on it as I go.
Well, you can do the easy ones, which is, Roscoe's a revolver.
Right.
Roundheel's a hooker. Stuff like that. Sawbuck.
Okay. So, yeah, she's, she's pretty friendly with you, a little bit shy, but you were asking her if she saw...
Well, I'm making the small talk first.
Okay.
So I said, hey, if you and Rosemary want dinner later, I got to shift the diner. It's on me. You just bring her down. But I had a question for you. If that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Have you seen Miss Brizendine around this morning?
No, not. I haven't seen her since yesterday.
Oh, okay. Well,
was she not home?
No, I guess
That's
not.
Very strange.
If you do see her, will you let her know I was looking for her? I had a question to ask.
Because you're starving.
Right. That's not just because I'm hungry either.
She sends Rosemary inside. And she comes closer to you, and she speaks in sort of hushed tones. She doesn't want Rosemary to hear, but she says, it's the strangest thing last night when I looked out the window. I thought for a moment that I saw somebody prowling around out here.
Really?
Yeah.
Like out your house or the boarding house? Boarding house,
yeah,
I guess it would be.
On the side of her house.
Oh. Did you get a look at it?
No, because when I looked again, there was nothing there. And so... I just assume probably a stray dog, because that's the thing about Stoll. It's a nice town stuff. But in the 1920s, there were a lot of stray animals everywhere.
Right.
So she says that, I thought maybe just a stray dog or something. But
well, you mind if I go look around over there?
Yeah, I mean, it was in her yard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, just don't want to be rude.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a guest here. Mm-hmm. So I'll go take a look at the area. She said she thought she saw something.
Okay. So the Petunia's boarding house is a 2-story house, but as she aged, she took over a big room on the main floor. And when there are enough boarders, then, there's people on the second floor, but there's not right now. So the window... One of the windows of Petunia's room will be on that side of the house, and then another on the front of the house, right? So
okay.
The front corner of the house.
So it was the boarding house. Sorry, I misunderstood that. I thought it was Mrs. Ellis's house. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's the yard is pretty narrow on that section.
Well, I'll raise a hand and say, you have a nice day, Miss Ellis, or Mrs. Ellis, and I'll walk over to that spot.
Okay. Yeah, so you can get over there. Where there's, there's not grass. It's just muddy ground over there outside her window. But you can do a spot hidden over there.
All right. Well, What do you know about this sort of thing, Rumble? I see mud. I see grass.
Oh, man, what's,
I will spend 2 luck, if that's acceptable.
Yeah. Yep, you can spend it.
Brings my current down to 68.
Okay. Yeah, so you just go over there to look around. You're not sure what, you think you might see, but you definitely see that there are footprints in the mud. It's not a very wet mud. It's a pretty, firm, but it's a clay, yeah. But you can see footprints. They're definitely man-sized, and they're footprints, not boot prints. It's like someone barefoot was out here. And then you do see that there's also a bit of cloth on the eave of the window.
Okay.
There's a rusty nail there that caught, and there's a little bit of some green cloth.
It looks like it comes from a dress?
No.
Or a nightgown?
No.
Can't make it out?
curtain?
Yeah. It could be a curtain or it could be pants or, it's hard to say. A shirt.
Well, I'll pick it off the nail there and stick it in my pocket, I guess, but I'll just be frowning. Well, it weren't no animal. Well,
okay.
I'll go meet up with the other guys and head out to the diner.
Check the tool shed.
Tool shed.
All right. And then what did you guys want to do?
I think I'd just probably be hanging out, probably in front of the boarding house, waiting for old Robbie to show up, probably smoking a cigarette, trying to keep I guess my hands might be warm, but keep them warmer.
Okay.
Keep them in my pockets or something.
All right. Mother Baker's is a restaurant about 1.5 blocks away. So it's not a very long walk at all. Yeah. So Mother Baker's is a diner on Main Street. In the last week, Mrs. Baker has been serving new dishes, which some people had remarked about since it was like one of those things that had existed for all time and never changed. But recently she started, creating new dishes. She's using a new syrup on the waffles that she makes that's just blowing people's minds. And the burgers are like far better than any other burgers you've ever had. And people keep saying that it tastes like heaven. And, her diner has been really busy since you guys got to town. So that's where you can go, and that's about 1.5 blocks away. So an easy walk down the street, right to Main Street. And it's busy, like it always is now, but the waiter there, or the waitress there, finds you guys a table and seats you there so you can order. So anyway, the place is pretty full. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of conversation going. But you notice that, everybody who's got food is like really focused on it. Like the tables that have been served, everybody stops their conversation and is just really focused on whatever their food happens to be. And they keep shaking their heads at how good it is. So, but there you are.
Well, is it just a seat yourself?
This is the diner I work at, right?
Yeah, you've been seated by the waitress there.
Order coffee black and ask what the special is today.
And yeah, this is the diner you've been doing washing dishes at.
Dishwashing.
Night shift, yeah.
Dishwashing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the breakfast special is waffles. That's what everybody seems to be eating right now. And everybody's talking. Now, you guys haven't eaten here before, but everybody that you run into, and a lot of times you'll overhear conversations. People just talk about how good the food is at Mother Baker's. So that'll be easily absorbed by your spending level here. So nothing to worry about there. Yeah. So aside from eating, was there anything else you guys wanted to do here?
Just make some small talk. So where are we going to be driving? You say a church?
Yeah.
Methodist
church in town. Here it's, was it old? What I'm figuring, like since founding or?
Yeah, it has. It's been here quite a long time.
Been here forever, apparently. Possibly
So,
since the founding of the town. Figured there'd be some good historical information there for my book.
Yeah, so Rob, when you had made it to town, the first church you saw was a Catholic church, which had kind of worried you, being a Protestant. But as it turns out, there's, 5 or 6 churches in this town. So the Methodist church that he's talking about is the, let's see, what do they call that?
Just reminds me of the Robin Williams joke.
Methodist Episcopal Church.
Same great Catholic taste. half the guilt.
Nah.
Yeah. And that is just 2 blocks further on down the way you guys came to get here. Actually, it's right in line there.
I guess it ain't too far. Might not even need a driver.
Yeah. So most of the things in town are pretty close together.
But I know you're kind of hard on your luck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figure that's enough reason for me to kind of make him a driver. Also, he's good in a fight, keep him around, and he doesn't need to know that.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he's good in a fight because you two had a fight with some other people in a local
watering hole.
Yeah.
Might still have a little bit of discoloration about the head and the face on account of that one. Yeah, so
Let's have everybody roll me a listen and put it in the tower. Okay. So, Oscar, for you, the noise of the diner has reached that point where it's just a noise, and you're not able to pick out any individual words from it. But Rob, you do pick out some conversation from a couple of tables over, and that is you don't recognize the people, but you do hear them talking about a professor. You don't know any professor, and you don't catch a name, but you do hear them talking about a professor and a telescope that's just amazing.
yeah, well, yeah, I suppose at that point there's like a lull in the conversation, and I push my plate away from me, and I'm just sort of looking around the diner, and I hear that snatch of conversation. Professor and an amazing telescope.
Yeah, it's like a weird excitement they have for that sort of a topic, right?
So is this like a school town, like a college town as well?
Mm-mm. No, Stoll, Pennsylvania is it's centered around small industries. There's a cannery and a lumber mill, and a railroad comes through as well.
Yeah,
but yeah, they don't have a college here. It's just that you just happen to pick that up, and it just seems strange to you someone would be that excited about a telescope. I mean, if you look over there and you don't recognize them, but they're like high school kids, so maybe it's something from school project they got to do, but you do pick that up. And then Tony, you pick up some like a whispered conversation that catches your ears because it's like they're trying to not be heard, but you pick out the name Freddie Jensen, right? So somebody's whispering about somebody named Freddie Jensen, and the fact that like a lot of what's the good word for it? A lot of mischief around town is probably the fault of this Freddie Jensen. Like there's even talk that he might be like a gang leader. Like we might have a honest to goodness gang here in town, and Freddie Jensen is just the worst sort. So you don't know a Freddie Jensen, but you do pick that up. That's what you pick up from that conversation.
Has there been any stories in the paper, or have I heard of any of this mischief? Okay, so this is the first time hearing about mischief.
No, that's you had yeah.
Can I see the people?
Yes. Well, no. When you look to see like where that's coming from, you're not able to pick out exactly who. Okay. Because every table in here is packed. So
I'll file away the information, as maybe I'll bring that up at the police station as well.
Okay.
So how long's your shift, Robbie?
It depends on what he's got for me. Shouldn't be too long, I don't think. It being Saturday and all.
All right. Well,
maybe check back with you at lunch.
Sounds good. I guess I'll be staying at Petunia's till then, working on my book. But that said, I gotta go. Get to work, I guess.
What was your book about?
I'll, small towns. Good old Americana.
All right. Is this your first town that you're visiting, or?
All right.
How far out east do I figure I came from, or west, wherever, Brandon?
From Boston.
Boston. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I hit as many of them as I could along the way from Boston.
So what's your...
Yeah, he would have taken a much different path from Boston than you did, Tony, because you were following someone and they just seemed to go in almost a straight line until they curved down south into Pennsylvania from New York State.
What's your most interesting fact that you've learned so far?
It's because you know it's a lie.
Well,
That's why.
Well, it's not a lie.
Just seeing how good the cover is.
Yeah, I probably stopped off in a couple towns on Boston from here, or on my way from Boston. So, Brandon, how would I get an interesting factoid from a small town?
you're gonna tell me about how the single
Intelligence?
or the small family is going away in America.
All right. So intelligence.
Hard success.
You got a hard success. Yeah. So it's pretty easy for you to think of some interesting things. A lot of the towns that you traveled through.
Most of them probably looking for a guy that was affiliated.
Well, and it's like towns you've been to or been around before, at least in Massachusetts. So,
Okay.
It's easy to pick one and say, well, this place has the largest beer glass in the country or whatever, Okay, so then here's how we'll split it up. So, Rob, you're going to go do your day shift your shift at Al's Best Automobiles, right?
Yes.
And then what were you going to do, Oscar?
I'm going to go back to Petunia's.
Okay.
Write in my cover book. Might as well, right?
Yeah.
If someone's going to ask to see it, so.
Oh, hey, since you're hanging out around there, will you let her know I was looking for her? The neighbor saw somebody outside her window last night. She thought it was an animal, but when I looked there, it was a bare foot of a human, about, man-sized shape. So, I don't know, a lot of drifters come through, myself included, so probably what it was.
That is rather odd, I guess. Sneaking around in small towns always more able to get caught. People keep their eyes out.
Yeah, I just got a bad feeling, because I've been there a month now, and her schedule doesn't break. So,
All right. Well, maybe I'll go take a look at it.
here, I picked this off the windowsill. It's a piece of green cloth. I don't know. I can't remember what she was.
Did we knock on her door? Did we go into her room?
Didn't seem appropriate.
No, you didn't.
All right. I'll take a look at what you saw.
Being a man of, low station, Rob, the first thing that pop into your mind is, why is there bare feet outside Petunia's window? And maybe there's a peeping Tom. But
yeah, but
if someone was going to do peeping, you would think it would be at Marion's house, because Marion is still very attractive.
Yeah, a lot of wackadoos on the rails, though.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, and then what were you going to do?
I was going to head
Tony?
over to the police station and see if I can talk with one of the, I don't know how big the police force is out here, but either talk to a sheriff or a detective if they have one, and see if I could get some more information or any information about this Felix that I'm looking for. Also, maybe drop that name of Freddie Jensen. Let's see if, just as an aside, right?
Okay, so you're going to go to the police station. Okay, so it's a short walk for you, Oscar, back to Petunia's boarding house there. And you and Rob walk together for a block before, or actually you make it all the way to Petunia's boarding house, walking together along that street. Rob continues up half a block and then cuts to the east, and that'll take him a few blocks away towards to Al's Best Automobiles there, which is sort of the, it's like on the northern edge of town.
All right.
So there's nobody at Petunia's.
I'll go knock on her door. Then I'll try it if there's no answer.
Yeah, no answer.
All right. Yeah, I'll head on in.
Okay.
And I'll, I'll announce myself again just in case,
Right. Okay. Yeah, so no answer, and then you try the knob, and it's unlocked, and you open it up, and Petunia, what it looks like to you is that Petunia made her bedroom what in the beginning of the house's days would have been like a living room.
Okay.
So it's pretty big, right? And so it's got big bay windows that look out the front of the house, and then there's a smaller window that would be looking out into the side of the house. And the room, like the rest of the home that you've seen, is is very tidy, very orderly, right? So she's got, a big bed. She probably never replaced the bed she shared with her husband after he died. And then, then the standard furniture that you'd find in a bedroom of an old woman. She's got, the dresser and the vanity jewelry box and a wardrobe and things of that nature, with nice thick rugs on the floor, and but no petunia.
So Robbie said that there was a footprint outside her window,
Yeah.
and a piece of cloth in the window. So I'll check there, see if the window had been disturbed, or what anyone outside the window might have seen at a glance looking in.
Yeah. Okay. Roll a spot hidden for me.
Oh, BS. How much is that? 17? 40?
Okay. Well, you see, so right away you spot there's muddy footprints on the hardwood floor from the window to her bed.
Mm.
You spot that right away. And there's also on the windowsill on the inside there, something caught on her nightgown and tore a big strip out of it. And that's hanging from a nail there.
All right.
Now the window's closed from where you're standing. The window's closed, but you definitely see the muddy footprints, bare footprints, and then some scuffing in them to indicate, something going back over them towards the window. So you see that right at first glance.
All right. I'll close up her room, and I'll go outside and see if I can. Maybe the footprints went somewhere. I am not good at tracking, but
yeah, you can make your roll. You can try.
Okay.
You can try track.
Yeah, it must have gotten rusty during the war. Yeah, nothing. That might almost be a fumble.
Yeah, so you go back out there, and you do see one of the footprints that Rob must have been talking about. If there were more, he trampled them, and it's a mess there now. But you can't make heads or tails of where it goes from there. So from there, from that side of the house, it's a real narrow part of the yard. So there's the wooden fence, and then you've got about 5 feet to the side of the house. And then the fence juts along to meet the house, and there's not a gate there on that side. So it's just a wood fence towards the front of the home.
Okay.
And then you've got the whole back of the house.
All right.
There's a wood fence back there that looks out over, it's an empty lot.
Okay. What's around the empty lot? Is there, would it be something where like a vagrant would probably come passing through easily enough, or is it?
From what you can tell, there was a home there that burned down sometime. And so basically there's not but a bit of the foundation still sticking above the ground, and weeds. And it's like, that's the spot. And so right next door is another house that looks out over the street behind. But that's the vacant lot. And then further on in that direction, as a matter of fact, from her backyard, looking past that vacant lot, you can see the brick, now that it's light outside, you can see the brick building that makes up Al's Best Automobiles. So, as far as like, if someone dragged Petunia away, knowing where you are in town, you're on the northern edge of the town.
Okay.
Pretty much. There's like a block of houses left, and then it's, outside of town. But also the house looks out over the recreation ground, that playground, and then that cliff face, and there's no more town that direction either. So, but yeah, I mean, at this point, looking at the ground, you can't make heads or tails out of where they might have taken her.
Yeah. I think what my next thing might be to do would be to possibly go to the police. Kind of would not blow my cover, but raise more suspicion if I just try investigating and knock on doors myself, I think. So I think I'll forward this to the authorities.
Okay.
I'll start heading down that way.
Okay. All right. So that's what you're doing. And then let me get some. Okay. Yeah. So you're going to head to the police station. Now, Rob, you're heading to Al's Best Automobiles. So, you just continued on past Petunia's to the next block, and then you just turn to the east and you go walk 2 blocks down that way, and you'll make it to Al's Best Automobiles there. When you're walking that direction, off to your left is the last group of homes on the north side of town before it just the town ends, right? And you can roll me a listen and a spot hidden.
No luck. I won't spend any.
All right. So yeah, you make it to Al's, and you already know, you've already got your work orders for the day. Like he sets them up for you on a rickety little table in the shop area.
Yeah. Could we rewind a little bit? Could I push my listen roll at the risk of being late or something like that? Okay. Yeah. So I think I heard something.
Okay.
And I'll head over in that direction.
Yeah.
Because I'm still worrying over Petunia. Heard a suspicious sound over there.
Yeah.
Let's see how we do. Regular success.
All right. So yeah, you're walking towards Al's, and you've almost, you're about a block away, and you hear a sound. Now off to your right is a vacant lot. This is a lot where a house burned down. You can still see a little bit of signs of a burned foundation. Otherwise, it's just overgrown weeds and bushes. But you think you hear a sound coming from those weeds and bushes near the burnt foundation of the home.
Yeah, compelling in some way. So
yeah, so you're supposed to get to work, but it's up to you.
Yeah, I'll think for a moment, and I'll pause, and I'll be like, you should be closed on Saturday anyways, and I'll head over there to take a look at the sound.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you walk over that direction, and now the weeds and the bushes are like waist high on you until you reach the actual foundation that's still left, where it's a lot shorter there. But the nature is definitely starting to take that back over. But there's still a little bit of the cement, sticking up above the dirt. But when you get over there and you're following that sound, you think it must have been your imagination, but then you hear it one more time. And so you realize that there's like this thicket of some sort of bush, and it came from there. From where you're standing, you can't actually see anything in it, but that's where you heard the sound come from.
Anybody over there? I'll keep walking towards it slowly. Probably just jumping at a rabbit or something, Rumble.
So as you get closer, nothing answers you, but then you come to a stop right there, right in front of it, and you can see down in the bushes a dog.
Oh, just a stray.
Yeah, it's not moving now. You can see its face and its eyes, its tongue's hanging out of its mouth. It's clearly dead.
I'm sorry about that.
But you can't tell why. I mean, it's the rest of its body's down there in the bushes, but it is clearly dead.
Well, God bless you, buddy. Now you made me late for work. Bad timing on that one. Yeah, give him the old Jack Dempsey special. Jab with the cross right. All right, and then I'll head off to work. I mean, I will pause because it seemed like I caught it right in the act of dying, but it is February. It's hard for a stray, so that's just bad luck on my part and his part. And if I don't see anything unusual, then...
Yeah, nothing that draws your attention. I mean, you can only see its head, and it's its tongue hanging out, so you can't be sure exactly what killed it, but you can tell it's dead for sure.
Well, I'll drag it out of the bush.
Okay. All right, so you reach down in there, and you got the thorns scraping against your sleeve and whatnot, but you're able to grab a hold of the fur right at the back of its head and pull it out, and that's almost immediately realized that both of the dog's front legs have been cut off, not chewed or bitten or broken, but like perfectly sliced.
Ah, Jesus!
Right at the joint, and so it bled to death.
What did that to you, buddy?
Yeah, so during your travels, it's not uncommon that you'll be lucky enough sometimes in the less populated parts of New England where you manage to kill a deer to eat if you're hungry enough. So that cutting through bone like that, it's not really the easiest thing to do. And so just the cleanliness of the cuts
right
draws your attention.
Yeah, I mean, I'll puzzle it for a moment, but I can't make heads or tails of it. It seemed like it just happened, right? He's still...
I mean,
bleeding.
You heard him, and then, yeah.
Well, I'll kind of look around all of a sudden, like look for somebody to have done this, And if I don't see anything, then I'll assure the dog, I'll bury you later, buddy. And I'll put him back in the bushes where I found him and head off to work.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you go to work. And then, Tony, you were going to go to the police station?
Yep.
All right. So go ahead. You get to the sheriff's office there, and that's in, or the police station, sorry. And that is also on Main Street, just like Mother Baker's. It's just a few blocks away, but you make it there. And, you know, it being Saturday, there's not a lot going on here. When you walk in, there is a deputy sitting at the desk there reading a dime novel.
All right. I'll walk in and introduce myself and spy his name tag and call him whatever his actual name is, Deputy so-and-so. What is his name?
This is Deputy Alexander.
All right. Good morning, Deputy Alexander. My name is Tony. As I was wondering if the chief or the sheriff might be in today, and if I could schedule a little bit of time with him.
So Deputy Alexander looks up from his book and eyes you, and then he pauses for a moment, and he puts his book down and he stands up and he says, "No, sheriff's not available. He's out of town at a symposium. So I'm running the show till he gets back. But maybe I can help you, sir. What can I do for you?"
Well, maybe you can at that. Yeah, I'm in town looking for somebody. I had been hired on by a professor back in Boston. Someone stole some items from him, and I've been following him ever since he left Boston. I was trying to see if you guys if he may have popped up on your radar at all. Although I don't know if that's a term at this point in time. So maybe if he, you guys have seen him or caught wind of him. I guess backing up for a minute, the other towns that I had gone through where I had gotten some information, was he still going by Felix, or was it a different name each time?
It was always different
Okay.
names. And the only thing that seemed to be common was that he generally had a preference for working in kitchens. Because that couple of the places where you found some sign of him, he'd been working as a dishwasher or a line cook or whatever in restaurants or whatever.
So I'll pull up my a notepad or a little notebook and start going through a general description of him. That MO of taking on either day labor or part-time labor, working in kitchens, and he typically goes by a different name. As every time that I've come across someone that knows him or that he's crossed paths with.
Okay, so you say all this, and then he's paying attention to you, and he thinks for a moment, and he's like, "Well, no, I don't reckon I've seen anybody with that description come through, but it's a small town, and if he likes working in kitchens where there's not an awful lot of choices for him, you could check the kitchens at Mother Baker's, or even the absolute best steakhouse in town, probably even the state, is Elmer's. You could check the kitchens there, I suppose.
Are there any homes that in the area that typically hire out kitchen staff that you're aware of that I might be able to inquire at?
Well, there's a few boarding houses in town. There's one not far away, run by a woman named Petunia. There's a couple on the western side of town as well.
I'm actually staying at Petunia's. A lovely woman, and some of the finest cooking that I've had in a long time.
She does have that reputation. But yeah, there's a couple of more you could check over on the western side of town. And then you hear the door open behind you, and Oscar walks in. So Oscar, you've made it to the police station. You were going to come here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you you enter and you can see that Tony's already talking to a deputy there at the desk.
Oscar, you come down to speak with Deputy Alexander about your book?
No, unfortunately not. I was worried about what Robbie was saying about Miss Petunia, and so I went into her room, and after knocking, she wasn't there, but there were some footprints on the floor, and so I guess I'm here, Deputy Alexander, to report a missing person.
Oh, dear. Something happened to Petunia.
She wasn't at breakfast this morning.
Hang on a second. Let me get the... And he starts looking around in drawers or whatever. He's trying to find a form, but both of you can do a psychology roll.
It is not my day.
Nope, not mine either.
After searching for a bit, he comes out with a form, and he says, okay, now what were you saying?
We woke up this morning, and all of us were expecting breakfast. Miss Petunia runs a pretty tight ship, and she's usually always had breakfast ready for us, except maybe on days where it's,
Church days.
Yeah, except on days where it's early mass or whatever, and their oven wasn't even warm this morning, and we didn't hear a peep from her room.
And
so
you said you found footprints?
I got worried after we'd gone out to get our scrounge for our own breakfast, and I knocked on the door, still no answer, went into her room, and I found muddy footprints on the floor.
Oh, dear. I surely hope nothing's happened to her. Okay. Well, I thank you for bringing this to us. I'm going to start investigating this right away. I'll head over there and
is
see
this
what I can find.
Is this a common occurrence in this town? Is people going? Is there like a lot of vagrants moving through?
No, dear God, no. We've got a nice, clean, safe town here. It's very strange what you've just told me.
Robbie said that that neighbor lady he's always talking to saw someone creeping by the window the night before.
You're talking about Mrs. Ellis?
I believe that's her name. Yeah, the one with the little girl.
Yeah. I can speak with Mrs. Ellis as well then. Maybe she'll have some more information. I better get to work on this, so thanks for bringing that to my attention, gentlemen. Mr. Spates, I haven't seen the fella you're looking for, but if it's kitchens you're looking for, try Mother Baker's or Elmer's Steakhouse. And honestly, Mother Baker's not known for taking on out-of-towners for help, and now that I think of it, she doesn't like Eastern Europeans all that much, so maybe Elmer's would be the best place for you to look, and they don't open until the evening.
I appreciate your time, Deputy Alexander, and I was a former man of the law myself. As if I know that you said your chief is out of town, or your sheriff is out of town, but if you need any assistance, please let me know.
Well, thank you. I'll definitely, if I have any more questions,
flatten
I'll
his
find
tires and make it back to the boarding house before he gets there, so I can thoroughly investigate. just playing. Yeah, but I will tell Oscar that maybe we should head back to the boarding house. Make sure nobody tampers with evidence. Maybe there's some more that we can see. Did you happen to see where these footprints had led to, leaving the house at all?
Unfortunately, I'm a bit rusty in the tracking department in the modern era here, so no, I wasn't able to follow them. But there definitely was footprints out there.
Let's hurry back if you don't mind.
All right, I was maybe thinking about going and telling Robbie, as he seems to have taken a liking to her.
Yes,
worried,
if you want to do that, I can head back and see what I can see.
All right, I'll meet you back at Petunia's then, and I'll head off towards the car dealership or wherever it is that Robbie's at.
Okay, so both of you do a listen for me.
Ouch! My eardrums blew. Never hear anything again. It was at this moment that I realized that late stage deafness ran in my family, and it just came on all of a sudden.
As you guys are leaving and going your ways, you see the deputies come out behind you and locks the door. And as he's heading to his car, you can see there's two couples of two men, two women, approach at the same time, and they start talking to him. And you can tell by the look on their face that they're concerned about something, but, there's a breeze and it's far away, so you don't hear what they're saying. But he looks like he's harried, so he's trying to, beg off, but they keep pestering him. So when he gets to his car, he's sort of backed up against it, and they're haranguing him about something. But it looks like it might be a while before he makes it out to Petunia's to investigate. Although you can't hear what they're saying.
It's a good thing that they've got me with no ears on the case. But yeah, I'm gonna head straight back over there while Oscar goes over to inform Robbie about this.
Okay. All right. So Oscar, to get from the police station to Al's, you just walk straight north for a couple blocks, and there it is. Because it takes up its own whole section of a town block there.
All right.
It's a gas station, and he sells automobiles and he fixes automobiles, and he also sells gas. So it's a pretty big business, and it's right on the Randolph Street, which leads to the state highway up north, right?
Okay.
So it's the way out of town to the north. So you can head there, and it won't take you very long. But you do spot something interesting as you go. This is you're about a block away, and you see there's a old man way up a telephone pole. He's got some big headphones on, and a big smile on his face. But he's got a climbing harness that looks like he fashioned it himself, and he looks older than a person ought to be if they're going to be climbing telephone poles. But he's up there, and he's next to one of the power boxes, and he's
So just tap into a telephone line.
Yeah,
he's listening.
I mean, that's but that's the only odd thing you see on the way. So you don't know him, but he's set up high on that pole, and he could be listening to the voices or music. But he smiles and he waves down at you as you pass by.
Stop, wave back. No reason not to.
So there's an image of
this is one of them guys there's boycotting these new phone lines all over the place. So he just goes and connects straight into the line and make his call. Either that or he's listening in on a party line.
Probably listening in. And in a town this small, it might all be
most
party
likely.
lines, right?
It would probably it'd
era?
be very rare for a private line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he ain't doing no different than those operators that work the phone lines.
I don't know why he's up there though. With those ones, if you picked up and somebody else was on, you could still hear the conversation.
Yeah, probably ain't got a phone of his own at home.
No, might be.
If somebody tells you to stop, they're going to have to get up there to get you down.
all right. So, so then you see him up there and wave, but then you can continue on and you make it to Al's Best Automobiles there. And Tony, you don't have any sort of encounters on the way back to Petunia's, except for when you get there. And when you get there, there's the woman that you've seen before. She's the neighbor. She's a really pretty woman who seems to have taken, by your estimation, some sort of a liking to Rob. She's standing outside the home there, and she approaches you with a basket, one of those old picnic-style baskets. And she says, if Petunia's not back, then I realize you boys must not have had any breakfast, so I made some food for you. Can you make sure that Rob and the other gentleman
very, very kind of you. I know that they greatly appreciate it as I do. Let me just put this inside. As I was actually coming back to take a look around, I had heard from Robbie earlier this morning and Oscar just a short time ago that you had seen somebody outside Miss Prisentine's bedroom window last night. Have you seen anything like that before?
Well, I can't be certain that's what I saw. I told him I thought that I saw that. When I looked again, I didn't see anything there. And there's always stray dogs running. I mean, you can see one right now, and she points across the street, and there's a emaciated stray dog missing half its tail, rooting around in the front yards across the street. So I think that might be what I saw.
Okay. That was, again, we appreciate the food or the breakfast. And I'm just gonna take a look around. So you'll probably see me out here, and I'll thank her. And
okay. Well, and she opens up that basket, and she's like, "This one here is for Rob," and she points to the sandwich that seems to be bigger than the other ones.
100%, ma'am.
Hey.
And I'll take the basket in and set it in the. Does she have like an ice chest or anything? Okay. I'm not sure how long those guys are going to be. I don't imagine it'll be very long, so maybe I'll just set it on the table for right now and pen a quick note that says Robbie's and put it on the big sandwich. Yeah, with a heart and my initials.
She's an angel, but she's got bad
Worst
handwriting.
I've ever seen. Yeah.
Writes like a cop.
Right.
But at that, I will go and take a quick look in the bedroom to see those muddy footprints that Oscar was talking about, and then I want to check outside the bedroom window as well and see if I might be able to track either where these footprints had come from or potentially where they go to enter the house.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and you can roll a track.
Hard success.
Nice.
Okay, so yeah, you're looking outside there, and you can see that there's the one clear print, and if there were more, they got trod upon by Rob and Oscar. But the light's better now, and it's easier for you to pick up the trail. So you can see that the trail leads towards the front of the house. And looking at that fence now, you can see that there's some markings on it that indicate that somebody climbed up over it. And there's even like a few threads from Petunia's nightgown that you can find.
So is there like a stick or something that I could find around where I can just kind of mark just by this fence area? Yeah, and then I don't want to disturb any of the threads just yet if they don't look like they're going to be going anywhere. And if they look like they would blow away in strong wind or something, then maybe I'll bag them. But I'll go either around or over the fence to that area and continue to try and track leading away. So what does this go into the neighbor lady's yard, or where does this go into?
No, this is like on the side of the house where, there's always the side of the house that has a real narrow portion of the yard. Yeah, that's where you're at. And then it looks like they went up over the little portion of fence that connects with the boarding house. And then on the other side of it would be the front yard and the street.
Okay.
Looking out to the
So it looks
west.
like they went around this way with potentially with Petunia.
Yeah, it looks like they climbed over that little portion of the fence with her.
Is Petunia a small
front of the
woman,
house.
or is she like normal size, larger?
No. Yeah, she's just average size.
I'm surprised we didn't hear anything. All right, yeah, I'll go over to the front then. And do you want another track?
Yeah.
It's a regular success. If I need to, I'll spend the 8 luck to make it a hard.
Okay. Well, you can tell, you pick up the tracks again on this side. I mean, they end at the sidewalk. So you can tell that they came this way, and she was being dragged through the yard up to the sidewalk.
Okay,
Beyond that, you can't tell.
I don't see any dirt or anything that looks like it may have turned or anything like that.
No, not once you reach
what's across the
sidewalk.
street here? Is it just more houses, or is it open?
It's a big, wide open space. It's the recreation ground. It's a giant playground. It's got swing sets and merry-go-rounds. It's a huge open area that people use for, kids come and play here all the time. And
Are
people
there any
have picnics
buildings or
and stuff.
anything over that way?
No. That recreation ground is big, flat, open ground, and then on the other side of it is a cliff. cliff.
I hope to
cliff face.
hope to the Lord
rises
I'm
pretty
wrong, but I'm gonna head over that way, and I'll keep an eye out for any more drag marks. But I'll head over towards the cliff area.
Okay. All right. So you head over that way, and then we'll need another track from you.
As I will. Oh, can I push it with the? I guess push it with the fail being that I'm unable to pick up any other tracks past that front yard, no matter what. Or
no, you can push it, but the failure, the consequences of the failure will become known at a later time.
Hard success.
Okay. So you get to the other side of the street and you enter this whole recreation ground area, and it takes a while, but eventually you do pick up tracks again. They move into the recreation ground about halfway to where the swing sets and the merry-go-rounds are, and then they cut north.
Away from the cliff, or I guess parallel to the cliff? Okay.
Yeah, it'd be parallel to it, yeah. And then that's just open wilderness out there. That's the,
Okay. So if I could find another like stick or branch, something that makes it obvious, I want to mark out the track that at the end of her property, and then the where I can pick up the tracks on the wreck ground and where it turns as well. Just try and make it a little easier for the deputy once he gets here, but and also hopefully the Robbie and Oscar, but I'll start heading towards the wilderness area, and that was the last time that Tony was ever seen alive.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you do those markings, and then you start following on that direction, and then do a listen for me, and then
nope, I'm too engrossed in playing with sticks.
Rob, do a luck roll in the tower for me, please. Okay. So you quickly lose sight of those tracks, Tony, and you're not able to pick them up again as you're moving, north through that recreation ground. As a matter of fact, you lose them at right about the exact mark that the last street of the town ends, a block past.
So I'll any that I can identify up to this. Again, I want to just try and mark it with something, so that way there's. I guess there's some type of pathing, but I'll spend a good, I'll spend a good couple hours out there if I've got the time before anybody finds me. Just kind of combing back and forth.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. So you're doing that, and then Oscar, let's have a listen roll from you.
All right. Read that wrong. That's a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Okay. So you're walking down to Alsbest Automobiles, and right when you get there, where you would turn off of the sidewalk into that lot, you hear the sound, what sounds to you like screaming, a man screaming coming from the house on the opposite side of the street. So when you look that way, there's a house. It's a nice, it's a nice house with a nice yard and a tire swing. And a car in the driveway even, but you don't see anything going on over there, but you could have swore that's where you heard the sound come from.
Yeah, I'll head on over that way, knock on the door.
Okay. Yeah, so you walk up to that house and knock on the door. You wait for a few moments, and a woman comes and opens it. She's a middle-aged woman, and she looks exactly like the housewife. That's what she looks like. A bit careworn, but she has a smile, and it seems to you like a little bit of a blank look on her face, but she's got a mixing bowl in her arms, and she opens it, and she's like, "Yes, can I help you?"
I'll kind of look puzzled at that, and sorry to disturb you, but I thought I heard a scream come from here. Is everything all right? Almost slipped into
She's like,
Clover's on the case.
I'm sorry, you must be mistaken. Everything's fine here. So do a psychology roll.
Dang it.
Yeah, so there's a definite blankness to her look, but as you focus on it, trying to determine, what it seems to you like it actually could be like
She's drunk.
opiates or or she could be drunk, which is not uncommon.
She just took some cough medicine. I don't see what's so wrong about that. Now with heroin.
She's like, I'm not sure. You must be mistaken. Everything's fine here. And then behind her, you can see come into the room there, two girls that are about, you'd guess 10, and they look identical. So it's a set of twins, and they have their, dresses on, and they look very well put together, well taken care of. And they come in, and you can see that they're like team carrying a what looks like a large cutting board. But they come in and they see you, and they smile and they wave at you.
Yeah, I'll smile, wave back.
But yeah, nothing seems wrong to you. But
Sorry, I guess I must be a little bit on edge.
do a luck roll in the tower for me.
Oh.
So, everything seems fine to you, but you look at those little girls there, and you happen to spot that what's on that cutting board that they're carrying, they've got a frog dissected with the little pins, like you do in school, but that's what they have. There's a dissected frog on there, which is, it only catches your attention because generally you wouldn't expect little girls to have a good time.
I wouldn't expect any child about 10 to be doing that, probably, unless they probably have some sort of affliction.
But you don't see or hear anything else that might draw your attention. She's, the mother there is, she's polite. She doesn't look, like she's been harmed. She might be a little sauced up, but.
All right. Can I, based on this being a location that I was pointed to, not this house, but this town, start to say my hackles are thoroughly raised, though?
Yeah, it's strange enough.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I'll, I almost did again. Sorry to bug you. I didn't mean to disturb you, ma'am. Have a nice day, and same to your girls.
Yeah, so she's like, yes, of course, and she goes to shut the door, but then the little girls are like, wait, mister, and they come up to you, and they've got this frog, and they look excited, and they show it to you, and they start talking about it. They're like, did you know that and they start spitting out anatomy knowledge of the frog, right? Which do you have a biology or nature?
It would be like natural world or something probably, which I don't have either.
All right, so for you, we'll just do intelligence.
All right.
With a penalty.
How do I do the penalty?
Down in the left-hand corner.
Little buttons.
Okay.
So just the one penalty die. Okay, so what's interesting to you is you remember enough from school to know what they're talking about, and it's remarkable that they, being 10, that they know what they do about the frog, but they start talking about how they figured it out because you can see, and they're pointing to it. You can see here where this connects to this, and the purpose of this is if they're this, and they're talking about stuff that I don't know in real life, so I'm just going to use the powers of the keeper to say that they surprise you with their knowledge of the workings of an amphibian, and then they start asking you questions about it. And that's when you're at the limit of your knowledge, so you're just like, well, sorry, I don't know.
Sorry, I'm a writer.
Yeah, and it's like they're immediately disappointed. Like their faces, they're cute, all-American, blonde, pretty girls, being sweet and polite and hey, mister. But when you don't know, like their faces just turn off and they're like clearly disappointed. And then they just turn and they traipse on back through the kitchen.
Those are some smart girls you got there, ma'am.
Yes, we're very proud of them.
All right. I guess I'll take my leave of you.
All right. So that's, so then,
I'll kind of look back over my shoulder as I'm walking away.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't see anything more. or hear anything, but it does definitely sticks in your mind as an odd encounter. Okay, and then Rob, so you're working on the cars.
Yeah, you said he had a work list for me.
Yep.
I'll explain. Hey, Mr. Dabrowski, I don't know if this is all right, but if I get done quick today, you think I can duck out of here early? I'm a little worried about the lady I rent a room from. I haven't seen her all morning.
So he's like, you don't need to ask as soon as you get done.
All right, yeah.
Because he pays you by the job.
Right. Well, if I can, I can't, but I'm going to try to double time it. Thanks, Mr. Dabrowski.
So, he smiles. He's a friendly guy. He's been real nice to you. But then he leaves you to it, and you're working on these cars, and it's luckily pretty easy jobs today. And so roll your mechanical repair.
Now, this is really what I should have been doing with my life.
But do a bonus.
Oh, bonus? Can I do an after the fact?
Yeah.
Or I guess I could just re-roll it.
Yeah. So 59.
Yeah, I'll just see it's one of those days like happens a lot for, working types is you want to get done early, but it's just not happening.
Well,
but I'm not going to push it because I know you can't cut corners like that. It'll just make it worse.
Yeah, but hang on. Do a luck roll in the tower.
Okay.
All right. So you're not able to fix them, but it's because they need whole new parts. It's not because you don't know what to do. And so that's the luck of it, is like you get to that point and then you can show Mr. Dabrowski, look, they need a new
This needs a new hyperdrive.
Hey, boss, I can't finish this one today.
I can't do nothing about this flux capacitor.
Yeah.
We're going to need a Carillion hyperdrive.
Yeah.
For this
You need
one.
a catalytic converters. And so anyway.
People are stealing those.
So, he's like, yeah, I'm going to have to put in for those parts. They're going to have to wait
This
for
one
a
needs
while,
magic beans,
Why
boss.
don't you just pick up a bit and then you can take off, and I'll have you put these together when we get the parts.
All right, then. You want me back on Monday?
Yeah, that'll be
Okay.
all right. I have some more stuff to do by then.
All right, yeah, I'll clean up my space and a little more besides, and punch out.
Yeah, and so you're about to do that when Oscar strolls into the yard there. And Oscar, you can see that he's just finishing up, cleaning some things up, putting some tools back.
Looks like I caught you at about the right time, Robbie.
Yeah, a couple more minutes, Mr. Herman.
Well, I just came to inform you that your suspicions about Miss Petunia were correct. I knocked on her door after I got back to the boarding house, and there was no answer, so I went in, and she was gone. Found some tracks on the floor, so I went to the cops. I just came from there.
Oh, man. I had a bad feeling about today. Well, give me just a couple of minutes. I got to clean up here.
All right. I think I'll wait for him. And as I'm waiting, I'll kind of just people watch if there's any around. I think the town's starting to kind of act strange enough, and I'm supposed to be looking for something weird, so might as well start seeing if it was all in my head or if everyone's as weird as the old woman or the housewife.
Yeah, do a put a luck roll in the tower.
Well, Mr. Dabrowski's Polish, so you got to factor that in.
So the majority of the patronage that you see while you're waiting for him today, it doesn't seem to be people who live in the town.
Okay.
Like this is right at the edge of town, the last gas station for however long, heading
Right by
northeast.
major
So
freeway.
you see a lot of people stopping there to fill up or whatever, but you don't see anything that strikes you as strange. Then were you guys going to go right back to Petunia?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Tony, after you lose that trail and you're heading back to Petunia's, that's when Deputy Alexander shows up. And, he starts looking around for himself, looking at the things that you point out to him. When you've got him over in the recreation yard and looking at where you lost the trail, that's when Rob and Oscar, they reach the corner of that street that her house is on, and you can see across the street right over there that Tony's talking to that
Yeah, I'll
deputy.
be just over there pointing out. I was able to follow it right up until here, and now with this wooded area, though, it's not really my forte. I'm not sure where they went. If you got any dogs or dags, if you got any dags out here that'll sniff her out, then that might be our best case here. As just as an aside as well, are you with the name? Hold on, I gotta find it. Freddie Jensen.
Okay, so yeah, you ask him that, and you can see immediately that he knows who you're talking about. His face darkens, and he's like, "Yep, what's he got to do with this?"
I'd heard some rumblings about town that he's typically up to no good. Does this fit with what he normally does or gets up to?
No, Freddie Jensen's just a hood. He hassles people. He might steal some chickens or, harass some girls in town. This is not at all the sort of thing that he's known for doing. He's small time.
Does he have any associates or anything that might get up to something as big time as this?
No. Yeah, he's got a group of friends just as useless as him, but he's the leader. None of them do so much as sneeze without asking him first, so they don't have nothing to do with this. Freddie doesn't do nothing but stuff you'd have to spend a night in the cell for. He says, anyways, puts up his hand. He's like, I really appreciate you and your friends bringing this to my attention, but I'll take over from here, and we'll carry on the investigation and let you know if we find anything.
Sure thing, Deputy. Again, if I can be of any assistance, just please let me know.
Will do.
And I'll go and try and intercept Oscar and Robbie. Let them know that what I found. The tracks go up into the woods here, but unfortunately I lost him. As deputy's going to be poking around for a while, though, as he just got out here, pretty much seen what I seen. What time is it right now? This is about noonish.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll tell him. Why don't we head back to the house? Robbie's friend next door made us some sandwiches. It'll do us some good to think with some food in our bellies.
I'll nod. But while we're kind of walking back, I'll kind of try to broach the subject of. I'll be like, have either of you two noticed that this town is rather odd?
I'm starting to.
Even when compared to other small towns.
Hell, this place is odd even compared to large towns.
Maybe I just got used to odd being on the train. A lot of weird guys, but yeah, I saw a dog die on the way to work. A little macabre, I know, but weird. His legs had been cut off. Not gnawed, not torn, but cut.
Like they were amputated?
Right, but bone, even on a what do you say, a large dog? Medium-sized dog?
Who are you talking to?
It's been hit in the head one too many times. Just ignore it.
Oh,
yeah.
Where was that about?
It's not the easiest thing to do. On my way to work, just at the edge of town. Did you see, if you go that way, there's a house that burnt down. Empty lot. I left him there in some bushes. Gonna have to go back and bury him later.
Yeah, I'd like to go over and take a look at that as well. 'Cause, I think the deputy's going to be tied up around here for a little while. Yeah, I'm not quite ready to let this go.
As I was walking over to meet you at your work, Robbie, I heard something. I thought it was a scream coming from a nearby house, but the woman who answered the door didn't seem to have heard anything. But while I was about to leave, saying my goodbyes, her two daughters came out of their room, and it's the weirdest thing. They could have been more than 10, but they had dissected a frog they'd caught, had it on a cutting board, and they knew more than I. They knew more than I did about that thing. I was struggling to keep up with them as they were naming off parts.
Maybe they got a good school here in town. I heard some kids being excited about a telescope professor when we were at the diner. Seems sort of weird for kids, but
it does, doesn't it? The woman was kind of odd too. Like, it's not unheard of for a housewife to have a nip or two before noon, but I think she was going by the bottle, not the sip.
I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah.
All I know is I'm worried about Petunia. You say you tracked her up into those woods
Yeah,
there?
right up to the edge of town. As
Mr.
yeah, somebody. It's the oddest thing, and she wasn't an overly small woman, but it looks like someone had dragged her out of the house, up over a fence, across that front yard, and across the street into that rec area and to the woods. I don't remember hearing anything, though.
Yeah.
I thought I heard something, but I was having bad dreams, so I couldn't make sense of it. Couldn't tell you the time or anything. Could have just been a dream, but I have half a mind to go up there and poke around. I do want to stand by my word and take you driving around, take you to that Methodist church, though, so that's up to you, Mr. Herman.
I think we can put it off for a day.
Yeah, I'd like to see.
I also got to work later, too.
I'd like to see where this dog you found was. See how far away it was from where I lost them tracks into the woods. Because maybe we can, maybe it might lead back to something.
Yeah, I'll show you after we finish up here.
Tell him, Robbie, you may want to stop by next door, because I think you're the only reason why we got these lovely sandwiches from the neighbor there.
Yeah, I might be lacking humility, but I think she might have a thing for me. I don't know.
Seems like she's a bit sweet on
Poor
you.
woman.
Get myself in any trouble.
Poor woman, she must be blind.
Ain't that the truth? But
At least she can still make a decent sandwich.
I was gonna have to wait for now. Why don't we finish up here and I'll walk you to that dog,
Yeah,
Mr. Spates.
I appreciate that.
All right, so you're going to go.
Yeah, I've been finished with my sandwich long before they were.
Okay. All right, so let's back up for a second. So you guys showed up and you're talking. Yeah, you see that the deputy spends some time, just a couple of minutes milling around out there. And sometimes it doesn't even look like he's looking at the ground before he leaves. Just goes and gets in his car and leaves.
Just spends most of the time watching clouds.
He's laying down in the grass in the rec area.
Doesn't seem like he's being very effective. But
I don't know much about police work, but I do know what half-assing looks like.
Some grade A half-ass.
you guys gonna eat in the house?
Yeah.
I mean, probably not if he's looking around there.
No, he's not looking around in the house anymore.
It was just in the yard?
He was looking. He already did that part. So.
Yeah, then I guess you said there was a breakfast table or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably eat it inside.
Okay.
Because even if it's warm for February, it's still February.
Get a
Right.
cold bottle of suds or something.
So, yeah, it's probably just about 5 minutes after the deputy leaves. And you guys are sitting at that table eating these sandwiches. And let's have everybody do a listen.
Nope.
Old Mr. Herman.
Those boxes next to the skills are for checking ones that you've succeeded. Okay, just making sure it didn't have some other function.
All right, so you guys are eating your sandwiches, and then Oscar, you think you hear something coming from down the hall around by the back door, maybe.
Yeah, I'll kind of look up from my sandwich and I don't know, is it if I was to look past someone, could I see?
No, you've got this kitchen and then this dining area space and then a hallway that is set into the kitchen portion.
Okay.
So you'd have to walk through the kitchen and then you'd reach the hallway and you basically got to turn into the hallway and then that hallway goes down towards the back door and it branches off to either side at the back porch area. It's covered and it branches off to either side and there's a row of rooms on either side.
Okay.
Where your guys' rooms are. So
yeah, I'll kind of make it obvious that I heard something. I'll excuse myself from the table.
Okay.
And make my way off that way. I'll think I hear something. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'll be a little wired up. I'll kind of jump out. What'd you hear?
I'll put my finger to my lips.
So I'll just continue to observe.
And I'll try to go, quiet. So that way, if there is something out there, I can sneak it. Or at least try to.
Okay, yeah. So you get up and you go through the kitchen and you turn around you turn into that hallway and you're looking straight down it towards where the back door is. Right now, you don't see anything there, but that back screen door is open. It's like it does that lazy swing from the breeze if it's not latched.
Okay. Just the wind.
Yeah, so I mean, you're looking down that way, and that's what it seems like to you. It's like, okay, the screen door's not latched, so the breeze is making it. But then something walks around the corner, from out of view, walks into view, and it's looking at you, and that's a person.
All right.
So there's a man there, and he's emaciated and completely filthy, and he's got tattered remains of what used to be clothes hanging from his body, and his body's caked in filth, and you can actually smell him. Once you see him, the smell is terrible. His eyes are all dull and soulless, but his expression is desperate and violent. And so as soon as he sees you, he lets out a feral, like inhuman scream and launches straight for you. So, and you guys, you don't see it, obviously. You can still see Oscar in the kitchen looking down that hallway, but you hear that sound of someone scream and feet pounding on the floor. Yeah, so anyway, he comes, and he doesn't have a weapon, Oscar, so he comes running straight at you with like his hands and his teeth, but he's going to do he's going to attack you. So then you can decide to attack back or dodge.
Dodge was not on my list of skills, so it's attack back.
One on the main
I'll use my brawl.
tab.
No, there is.
Oh.
It's just that it wasn't one that I could put points to, so it's a 20.
Just use throw.
Okay, you're going to fight back?
Yeah.
Okay, do your brawl. Oh, you got an extreme success.
And catch your juggler with sharpened nails.
So he launches this attack at you, and you try to, fight back, but he does actually get it essentially ends up scratching your face, and he's trying to pull you, like grab a hold of you so he can pull you away, Oscar.
All right.
And let's see. So then you could go.
All right. Yeah, I guess I'll try to fight back.
Nice.
I can't target him, by the way, so.
Here, there you go. All right, so then he'll try to dodge, but you got you got a hard success. Okay, so he's not dodging you, so
right.
You can go ahead and do some damage to him. Okay.
Could I have tried to have, lock him up or do something else instead of damage?
Yeah, you can try to do maneuvers like that, yeah.
Yeah, I'll try to get him on the ground and lock his arm up. They call for Rob. Put down that sandwich, Rob. Actually, the sandwich might be big enough to count as a weapon.
Yeah. Yeah, so you guys see now what's attacking Oscar, and they're over there.
And you locked up his arms or something like that?
Yeah, I tried to take him to the ground.
Oh, okay.
Is what I'm figuring. Or something akin to that. Or got behind him with his main arm behind his back or whatever. I don't quite know what all I can do for maneuvers.
It's not technique, it's goal.
Oh, okay.
Right? So it's just whatever position you want them to be in at the end of it. And then obviously the keeper adjudicates, but they don't have techniques.
Yeah. So if you're doing a maneuver, let's see, what's your build? 0? No, yours, yeah.
Yeah, 55. Yeah, 0.
0, okay. All right, so there's no difference there. Yeah, and so you're trying to, tie him up, clinch him up?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so yeah, you managed to get, his, a wrist lock on him and get his arm behind his back, and he's screaming and trying to bite. And then, Rumble, I think you'd go next, right? Your dex is...
Looks like Mr. Spates is...
Or no, yeah, Tony,
70.
So your move. So you have to target him. There's on the combat tracker, because we're not going to do maps most of the time.
So this guy comes running out of the hallway at Oscar, and Oscar just punched him, or he's got him tangled up?
Yeah, he's got he's got his wrist and he's put his arm behind his back, and he's trying to, subdue him that way.
Is perfect opportunity for me to come in and do something to him. I don't know how to target him on here, though.
Control left-clicked him on the combat tracker.
All right, so yeah, I'll move in and try and subdue him with a punch to the face.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah.
Success.
So he'll try and dodge. Okay. All right, do your damage there.
4 punch damage.
Yeah, so Tony runs up and punches him right in the face there, and it snaps his head back, but he's still fighting like hell. And then, Rob, your turn.
Rob,
Oh, right,
I need you to incapacitate this guy with a punch to the face.
Mr. Spates is a pretty good boxer himself. I want to take a look at his feet as I come up there.
They're bare.
Muddy.
Muddy and bare, yep.
Hey, this is the guy. Be careful. But saying that, I'll see he needs some more softening up too. So I guess you got him behind the back and we're just all throwing hooks in his body. Yeah, I'll throw a shot in there. You got to get him in the liver, Mr. Spates.
Liver's got a lot of nerve endings. If you get hurt there, it really hurts.
Oh, 92. So, but
he's juking and jiving too much.
Happens if I talk trash before I shot it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so he's just flarbing around too much and flailing, screaming, so you're not able to get a good blow there.
Yeah, just hold it back for fear of hitting somebody else.
All right, so you're doing that, and then...
So with maneuvers, is it like I attempt to do a thing? Or like would I be giving him a penalty on attack or something? Like, or how's that work?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so this is what you guys are doing, and then, you know, Oscar, you've got his wrist, and you're trying to get him locked up, and then out of nowhere, you all hear a deafening bang, 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 and this guy's head just evaporates. And you hear that it's like deafening inside the house, but you look at that back door and there's Deputy Alexander there and he's got his pistol in hand and he just splattered this guy's brain.
God, remind me not to get on the wrong side of law around here.
Yeah, so that body goes limp in your arms, Oscar, and you know there's blood sprayed all over the walls. And you know, Deputy just holsters his pistol and saunters in. He's like, well, somebody nearby called and said they seen a crazy man running into the house. So
we
thanks,
had
Deputy,
it
but
under
I think we got
control.
a problem now because this was the guy.
all right, well, I got it under control. I'm the law here, and I appreciate you used to do it, but you don't anymore. And this is my town. Now he's
not
dead and
meaning
it's
any
done.
disrespect, Deputy Alexander, but how exactly is he supposed to answer any questions about Petunia?
Yeah, well, best leave the investigation to me. This is a crime scene. I need you boys to clear out.
Yeah, I'll kind of give these two a look.
Mind if
and
wash up real quick?
I'll try to disarm the pointed question and I'll be like, you're right. Sorry about that. We're just a little on edge on account of the fight and you shooting past our heads and all. But we'll clear out. No problem.
Well, that's understandable. And I apologize you had to witness this. This really is a nice town. This is not something that happens here. I'm not sure what happened to this man. And he's lazily, you know, trying to tow like the man's head around so he can see, but there's not enough. Not sure who that was. This isn't normally a thing that happens here. So hope this doesn't sour your feelings on our town here. But someone will be by to collect the body. I better go give him a call. Make sure you don't touch anything. And then he just walks like back outside, goes around towards his car, which is parked in front. So,
You guys ever seen anything like that before?
No. I mean, that was, yeah. I mean,
we had that guy.
Hell of a shot, I guess, but I think it might have been a little over the line for what was called for there.
So it's minutes later when a truck pulls up and somebody steps out of it, pulls up out front, and doesn't pull up. A truck approaches and then takes a turn on the road and then backs right up into the yard up to the front door, and a man steps out of it, and this is clearly not a mortuary vehicle. And the dude who steps out is clearly not a mortuary or hospital worker. And he doesn't conduct himself in anything approaching a professional manner. He steps out, he spits, big glob of chew on the porch and walks in and literally grabs the ankle of that body and drags it through the house out the front door.
Any markings on the truck?
No, this is just a normal truck.
Robbie, go warm up the car.
You got it.
Yeah, so he gets that corpse out, and then he pulls like a filthy tarp out of the truck, and he rolls the body up in it and just slings the body into the back of his truck. And the Deputy Alexander's watching and, supervising, and they don't really even say anything to each other. The guy gets back in his truck and takes off, turns down the road and disappears.
Well, follow that truck, Robbie. That's why I was having him warm up the car. This is weird.
Yeah.
It's all weird.
This is extremely strange. But seeing as how Crackshot Alexander just eviscerated somebody's head, I want to try and run a little interference if I hear what's going on as far as him telling him to go warm up the car, and I'll try and engage the deputy in his crackshot shooting skills. And I've never seen anything like that. This is such a small window that you had to make that shot without fatal error, and like 3 right in a row like that. How long do you spend out on at the ranges or out shooting?
Okay. So yeah, you start talking to him, and the thing is, like, his whole demeanor is like he could not possibly care less about what's going on here. It's like, oh yeah. Grew up shooting, taught by my old man. So
careful, Mr. Spates. Only a player character smokes a guy like that and then acts that way.
But he's got that demeanor. He's like, he looks down and he's like, oh, damn it, would you look at that? And that's the most emotion you've seen out of him. And he pulls out a handkerchief and he wipes some brain matter off of his boot. He's like, yeah, it's a hassle. But like I said, I hope this doesn't sound
not at all. I mean, that was a quick resolution to an unfortunate event.
So he takes his leave then, and he goes to get into his police car and put a luck roll in the tower for me.
John, or all of us?
Now he's going to find that I'm
Tony.
a wanted man in 3 states, according to him.
Yeah, so you watch him. He goes and he gets into his car, and as he does, he's like saying bye to you, and he's like, but don't worry, Freddy will take care of the body. And then he starts up his car and he takes off.
All right. Well, I go and clean myself off, see if those 2 come back. If they don't, then I'm going to...
But it just caught your attention,
Freddy.
Because there was a Freddy.
That's why I'm hoping they come back pretty soon. I will... If they don't come back by the time I'm done cleaning myself up, I'll start cleaning up the mess. As if Petunia is still amongst the living, as it's the least we can do for all the trouble that she's been through so far. But I'll wait for those guys to come back so we can get an idea of where Mr. Freddy lives.
Okay, and you guys are following him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'll be kind of giving him like maybe tips. I don't know what you're driving.
75.
Oh yeah, you're good at it. So
best I can be.
Yeah, I'll be like, I'll start trying to give you tips, but when I see that you're probably able to do it, like you'd want to stay. I mean, it's country road, so you're gonna have to stay as far back as possible and all that stuff. But it looks like you got it. So.
I managed to drift all the way somehow.
Yeah. So are you gonna make efforts to, not let him know that you're following him, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to stay back.
That's what I'll tell him.
That's what he'd been saying. So,
all right. So let's do your drive auto for me.
Oh, I thought it was 75. I guess it's only 70. Bragged a little bit about it. Hard success.
Nice.
Okay. All right. So then you take off following the man in the truck with corpse in the back there, and I think that's a good part to stop for this session. A good point to stop. We'll pick it up again next time.
As
Thanks,
I'm
man.
Yeah. Thanks,
very intrigued by your creepy ass town, man.
Yeah. Gonna have to punch everybody. This has been a Deathwatch production. Thank you for listening.